Hello everyone. My name is Silvanus Ayola Igwe. We could always go with Ayola, yeah, because everybody gets to call me more of Ayola than any other name. All right. So what I'll be doing for a while is I'll be analyzing literature texts. I speak of recommended text for WAEC and JAM, but I'll do more of the WAEC more. I'll do WAEC more. And the point also needs to be made that pretty much of the books that are recommended for WAEC student, literature students between 2020 2025 are pretty much the same text that these current JAM students would be treating. Books such as Second Class Citizen and a couple of other, listed poems that will be coming out in the WAEC stuff for WAEC students. All right, but before I jump right into analyzing the text, I'll pick the text one after another and talk about them in a way that even if you don't read the text, if you don't take out time to really read the text, you would be able to understand properly every nitty gritty, every bit of thing that happened in the text, and be able to write your exams and pass. Yes, I think so. Yes. By thinking, so I don't mean I'm guessing. Thinking is a pattern of thought, and that's really different from thinking. So that's what I mean. But what I will be doing now, very briefly, is to wet the ground. That's WHET, that kind of wet. Like, just prepare your mind and things like that. Help you understand why these things are very important. Let's start with this point that 80% of your exams, I speak to WAEC students, 80% of your exams would come from the prescribed text. By prescribed text, I mean the recommended African prose, non-African prose, African drama, non-African drama, and then the 12 poems, six African poems, six non-African poems. 80% of your questions will come from all of these prescribed texts. They are, we could call all of them, of course, texts, but the poems, the drama, the prose, the novels. By that I mean novel, prose, novel. So if most of your questions will come from the prescribed text, you would observe that many students don't even read this text. They just concentrate on reading figures of speech, figures of sound, figures of speech, figures of sound. And that is just about 20% of your questions. Just about 20%. More than 80% of your questions will come from the prescribed text. So it's very important that you have a proper understanding of the issues, the content of each of the texts, so that you improve your chances of passing your literature exams very well and excellently. Very well and excellently. Let me also quickly point out again that the most failed art subject is literature. You just do a little bit of your research and ask around. The most failed art subject is literature. There are instances where students will pass English language and other subjects, and the entire arts students will fail literature in WAEC. Yes. Enough instances like that where they were like, okay, please, can you come and start take the literature part of the work and stuff like that. So it's very important we pay attention, students, you pay attention to this part. So I'm helping you to understand why it's important that we run through the text. We run through the text. And I will be starting with Second Class Citizen by Buchi Emecheta. Second Class Citizen by Onyebuchi Emecheta. Yes, she's a literature giant, and as she would say during interviews, during the time she granted interviews, she says she's not a feminist. She's not a feminist. She considers herself more of a womanist. Yep, she's not a feminist. So we'll be taking the text one after another. Yes, so we're going to be starting in my second video with second class citizen, I would do it very detailedly. You might need to write down in between and stuff, pause, write down, and continue listening. We would also need to look at how to analyze a literature text. When you are writing literature essay, it's different from when you are writing English essay. There's a way to do it. It will interest you to know that many students really don't know. So it contributes to the failure. It contributes to what makes students to fail, because the way you write a literature essay is different from the way you write your English essay. But people just use the pattern they write their English essay to write literature essay, and they just have issues with passing very well and things like that. So we're going to take our time to do this. So I think you should maybe start trying to read a little bit on the second class citizen. But don't worry, we're going to analyze the text. I'll start by summarizing the text, summarizing each of the chapters of the text. Yes. Then in between, we do the analysis, look at the themes, how to run the analysis of the themes. So if you're writing it, not just pointing it out, but how to write it, the characterization, of course. We look at the setting and other very detailed issues, you know. See how we can relate it to what is obtainable in our society and things like that. Let's see how the second class citizen applies things to our society, or mirrors our society, as the case may be. So thank you very much for listening. So in the next video, I would jump right into analyzing second class citizens, starting by chapter summary of what happened in the text. Then in one of my videos, which I want you to look forward to, I would explain how to write your analysis. Thank you very much for listening. I think that if this content is not exactly for you, you could share with students who the content will be, very useful for. Thank you very much for your time. See you in another video.